name is Newa William Kihimbo. I'm going to share with you the topic expressing oneself, which is a form for topic. And the subtopic is expressing one's feelings, ideas, opinions, and emotions. The specific objectives at the end of this lesson, students are supposed to be able to construct conditional sentence type 1, type 2, and type 3. But because we did type 1 and type 2, we are going to focus on type 3, conditional sentence type 3. In the last lesson, we discussed on the conditional sentence type 1. For the sake of those who didn't manage to watch the previous session, conditional type 1 is the type of conditional sentence which is normally in this kind of if clause. We do not know whether the event referred to is going to happen, but it's certainly possible that it will happen. And how we form the conditional sentence type 1, you need to have the simple present tense, and the simple future. So if you have the simple present tense and the simple future, the end result will be the conditional sentence type 1. That is, for example, if John comes, we shall go to the market. If John comes, the if clause contains the simple present tense, while the main clause contains the simple future. If John comes, we shall go to the market. And that is for the case of conditional sentence type 1. As for the case of the conditional sentence type 2, we say conditional sentence type 2 shows unlikely condition. That is, there is a probability of something to happen. In this kind of if clause, an event in the if clause is unlikely to happen. And the main clause refers to the unlikely. The main clause refers to the unlikely future, but the verb in the if clause is always in the past tense. You have to note that in the previous lesson, I warned you that you should not use the word will when you express conditional sentence type 2. The word which is likely, the word which you have to use is would, not will. But also you can use the word might. Therefore, in the conditional sentence type 2, we normally, in the if clause, you have the simple past, and in the main clause, you have the conditional future. If John came, for example, if John came, we would be happy. If John came, we would be happy. So you have the conditional sentence type 2 having the simple past in the if clause, and in the main clause we have the unlikely future, or we call it conditional future. That is for the case of conditional sentence type 2. Now, having gone through the conditional sentence type 2, type 1 and type 2 as a revision, just to remind you concerning with what we learned in the previous lesson, now our focus today will basically be on the conditional sentence type 3. With conditional sentence type 3, we are talking about impossibility. That is, it's impossible to happen. In conditional sentence type 1, we talked about the probability of an event to occur. That is, there is a high possibility that it will happen. In the conditional sentence type 2, it is unlikely. That is, there is a probability that it can happen or it cannot happen. But in conditional sentence type 3, it is impossible. It cannot happen. It's unlike in conditional sentence type 1, and type 2. That's why we talk of conditional sentence type 3 being impossible. The event is not likely to happen. The event is not likely to happen. Dear students, you have to take note of that. That's very important. In conditional sentence type 1, we talk of the event, the probability of an event to happen is very high. That is, it will happen. We talk of the conditional sentence type 2. It is unlikely. There is a probability of happening. But with conditional sentence type 3, it's impossible. Completely impossible. It cannot happen. Now, in this kind of conditional clause, the event referred to is contrary to the fact. That is, it is impossible to happen, as how I explained before. That is, in this kind of conditional clause, we talk of the event that there is no possibility for that particular event to happen, as how it was in the conditional sentence type 1 and conditional sentence type 2. We have some few examples here to show conditional sentence type 3. A. If I were you, I would or should work harder. But I'm not you. You're talking about assumption. If I were you, but you cannot be me. If I were you, I would or should work harder, but I'm not you. So there is no possibility for you to change to be me. It's impossible. If I had gone by taxi, I would be there by now. If I had gone by taxi, I would be there by now. That is, I didn't go by taxi, and I'm not there. I didn't go by taxi, and I'm not there. So it remains to be just like a story. If I had gone by taxi, I would be there by now, but I'm not there, and I'm not gone with the taxi. So it's only stated in a way that there was an event which was expected to happen, but it's impossible to happen because I'm still here. I'm talking of if I had gone by a taxi, but I didn't go with the taxi, and therefore I cannot be there. If I had gone by taxi, I wouldn't have been late. Still, we talk of the impossible event to happen. If I had gone by taxi, it means I didn't go with taxi. I wouldn't have been late. So it's just like if it happened, but it didn't happen. Another example, if I had married Rehema, I would have been much happier. If I had married Rehema, I would have been much happier. What does this imply? This implies that I did not marry her. I did not marry Rehema. So it remains to be assumption. If I had married Rehema, I would have been much happier. But I didn't marry Rehema. Because we are talking about impossibilities. It's impossible. It didn't happen. And therefore it remains to be like a story. Now, having gone through the conditional examples of the conditional sentence type 3, maybe what's very important for us to know now, we have to pass through the format. How do we construct the conditional sentence type 3, which is very important. We have to take note of that because it's not only the matter of claim. You have to know the way you can construct conditional sentence type 3. This is the form or the format that you have to adhere to. In constructing conditional sentence type 3, the following should be considered. 1, we have the first part of the sentence which we call the if clause. The if clause. In the if clause, the type of things which should be used in the if clause in conditional sentence type 3 is past perfect tense. My dear students, I hope you remember how to construct or how to construct past perfect tense. The past perfect tense is characterized by the had plus the past participle. For example, you might say I had taken, I had spoken, I had sung, I had gone, I had kept, etc., etc. So we talk of the had plus the past participles of the verbs. That is, the verbs should be in past participle. So that is the first part of the conditional sentence type 3. You need to have the if clause characterized by the word had plus the past participle. The main clause, which is the second part of the sentence or the conditional sentence type 3, this one should be characterized by the past conditional. Past conditional. We talk of would be, would have been, wouldn't have been, etc., etc. Now, my dear students, we have already gone through the conditional sentence type 1. We are done with conditional sentence type 2. And now, we are done with conditional sentence type 3. We have gone through examples of the conditional sentence type 3. And I have given you the format, the way you have to construct the conditional sentence type 3. What's very important for you is to note the form. That when you talk about conditional sentence type 1, what do? It's conditional sentence type 1, you need to have the simple present in the if clause, and in the main clause, you need to have the simple future. With conditional sentence type 2, you need to have the simple past or the past tense in the if clause, and in the main clause, you need to have the unlikely future, or it is conditional future. And when you talk about conditional sentence type 3, my dear students, I think you still remember, we talk of the format of the conditional sentence type 3. You need to have the past perfect tense, and in the main clause, you have the conditional future. That is the would be, would have, wouldn't have, etc., etc. My dear students, it's now the time for us to pass on the practice, whether you have really grasped something from the conditional sentence type 3. And this is the practice that we are going to pass through. Choose the best alternative. Choose the best alternative and write the letter of the correct answer. Question number 1. If I dash Chelsea, I would have asked to postpone the marriage. If I dash Chelsea, I would have asked to postpone the marriage. These are the multiple choice. A, am. B, have been. C, had been. D, was. My dear students, can you take time to ponder the correct choice, the correct answer? If I dash Chelsea, I would have asked to postpone the marriage. The first important thing to remember, you have to remember the format. You have to remember the format of the conditional sentence type 3. You remember the format? The format of the conditional sentence type 3, we have the past perfect tense, and we have the conditional future. Would have, not, etc., etc. And therefore, in the multiple choice here, it's obvious that you have got the answer. If I had been Chelsea, I would have asked to postpone the marriage. Question number 2. If I dash rich, I would find a wife as soon as possible. If I dash rich, I would find a wife as soon as possible. These are the multiple the answers for that question. We have A, had been. B, will be. C, would be. D, were. Do you remember the format? Just stick to the format. If I dash rich, The conditional sentence type 3, the if clause is characterized by past perfect, had, plus the past participle. If I reach, I will find a wife as soon as possible. Now, which is the correct answer among the A, B, C, D choices? It's obvious it is A. If I had been rich, I would find a wife as soon as possible. This is question number 3. If she had told the police all she knew at the outset, they arrested her. If she had told the police all she knew at the outset, they arrested her. Here are the answers. A, would not have. B, will not have. And we have would not have, B, will not have, and C, had. If she had told the police all she knew at the outset, if she had told the police all she knew at the outset, they arrested her. Can you go back to the format of the conditional sentence type 3? The first party of the sentence or the if clause is already given. That is, we have the past perfect, had told. If she had told the police all she knew at the outset. Now we are dealing with the second party, the second part of the if clause, conditional sentence type 3. I've already told you about the second part of the conditional sentence type 3. We talk of the conditional future. Now, among the given alternatives, would not have, will not have, and had, which one is the correct one? My dear students, can take time to think about the answer. I hope you have the answer. The answer here is A, that is the conditional future, would not have. So if she had told the police all she knew at the outset, they would not have arrested her. My dear students, that marks the end of our lesson for today. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson on the conditional sentence type 1, type 2, and type 3. And you will now be able to express yourself using the conditional sentences. That is, you can speak using the conditional sentence type 1, conditional sentence type 2, as well as conditional sentence type 3. I really thank you very much for your attention. And now, this marks the end of our lesson for today. Let us meet in the next lesson. This is your teacher, Sabnewa William Kihimbo. Bye.